Hi, I'm Dave, and today we will be talking with Ryan about monster trucks. Alright, so let's go a little more in depth with your first truck, which was your sport mod. Now, um, what made you choose these J Concepts Firestorms?
With these guys here, they're just a little bit easier when it comes down to finding the tire itself, and also they hook up really well on carpet. Especially if you get the gold compound and if you put Crawler Innovations foam inside, that works really well.
Alright, now where did you say you race these at again?
We race with Michigan Monster of RC, and that right now their local track is going to be at Larry's RC in Utica, and it's once a month on Saturdays.
Okay. Now, what made you choose this form of racing over any other kind of racing as far as like the off-road stuff, on-road stuff, whatever?
My buddy Russ that actually works with us here, he brought in one of his trucks one day and it looked pretty cool. I figured I'd come out to an event, let me try a truck, and I was hooked ever since.
All right, cool. So now, when it comes to electronics, what electronics do you use in, say, this truck specifically?
With this here, you'll run two 15-turn motors. You can either run the HPI Firebolts, the Arma 15-turn brushed motors, or you can also run the Dynamite 15 turns. We've always found the HPI Firebolt motors are just the easiest way to go. They're cheap. They're like 15 bucks a motor. For servo, I run ProTech on all my trucks. I have the 130T, which is their monster truck servo. It's like 355 ounces of torque. There's plenty there for that. And then ESC for this guy here, I am running a Hobbywing 1080 crawler ESC. And it's nice because it comes with a program card, so it's really easy to set up.
Very nice. How long have you been racing monster trucks?
For monster trucks with these guys, I've been racing for probably about just a little over 5 months now. I just got into it and both feet in, and it's definitely a lot of fun. It's about all I race right now at the moment. So,
have you been doing any other form of racing before you started racing monster trucks?
I have. I used to run two-wheel drive buggy, with downward RC for a few years, and I got into this, and I raced Stampede still there for their monster truck class, but mainly I'm focusing on these guys here.
All right. Now, when it comes to a monster truck like this that's based on a clodbuster, how long did it take you to build something like this?
For building something like this, it does take a little bit of time when it comes down to sourcing parts. Everything tend to be online for when it comes down to it. Besides tires, tires, bodies, and shocks, and servos, electronics, you can get at your local hobby shop. But when it comes down to the chassis itself, it's going to be more online based. It took me probably about 2 weeks or so to build this guy here. But yeah.
Okay. Now, for anybody watching that wants to get into monster truck racing, do you have any kind of advice for somebody just starting out? Like, what platform should they start out with what class maybe?
If you're looking for something cheap to get into just to see if you'd like it or not, getting like the Axial SMT10, that works out pretty well. You can even convert a Wraith over to a monster truck. STRC sells a nice chassis for it. That's a cheaper, easy way to get into stuff. Or there's also the stock clodbuster. You can still get the super clod these days from Tamiya, and you can run in the retro class. And that's a whole other fun story.
So this is another one of your trucks, another one of your pro mods. Tell us a little bit about how this one is different than the other two that you showed us.
What will make this one different a little bit is this one's actually based off the Axial SMT10 versus like a Tamiya Clodbuster, where this one is actually shaft driven versus being motor on axle. So it makes it a little bit different. It's a little bit harder to handle the power because they actually do a lot more torque twisting and stuff like that as well.
Okay. Now, I see you're running J Concepts tires on this truck as well, and it looks like these are different than what was on your Sport Mod.
Yep.
What made you choose these tires over those tires for this truck?
With the Pro Mod class, it's unlimited. Anything really, you can run any tire that you really want to, as long as it's a standard, monster truck tire. But these guys hook up really well on carpet, especially with the Crawler Innovations foam put in them. And these are the Gold Compound J Concept Renegades as well, on their tribute wheels.
Now, what electronics are you running in this one, and why?
With this one here, of course, I'm running my ProTech 130T. And then I have the Trinity 13.5 Punisher motor. And then I also have a Hobbywing 128 ESC as well with this one. And I just always use those Hobbywing ESCs because they're cheap and they're actually really easy to tune as well.
Alright. Now, this one you actually built for Nankin Hobby, correct?
Yep, exactly. This is like one of our shop trucks that we have.
Nice. Alright, so what made you go with this chassis specifically over some of the other chassis that are on the market right now?
For when it comes down to for a shafty truck like this here, I found the ZRP Hitman chassis, which is what this is probably one of the most competitive ones you can get. You know, I know there's a couple other ones from like Crawford and all that, but if you for like performance racing and running in pro mod, I found this is the best way to go so far.
Alright. Now, when building something like this with these axles, is there any upgrades or anything you have to do to make it handle the kind of power that you guys are putting to?
Honestly, the biggest thing is just shimming the diff. I have stock internals in the gears in here and it's still going strong. That's the biggest important thing is just shim your differential, and then also putting a full metal gear transmission in it as well, because those stock ones will strip out very quickly. But other than that, that's about it. You know, the drive shafts, the stock ones do hold up, but they just don't hold up to a lot of heat though. So if you're running for over 30 seconds, I'd probably get something with a little bit stronger axle for it, so you'll get a lot of heat through there. But other than that, it's not too much of the upgrade.
All right. Now, it looks like you got Proline shocks on here. Why did you go with these specific Proline shocks?
With the Proline Power Strokes, they're just a really decent shock to go with. They're easy to bleed. You know, they're stress free. They're I believe it's 12 millimeter springs that these guys run on.
I believe so.
So you can run all the associated springs, which is like what I like to do with these guys here. So.
All right. Now, as a very popular question, how fast does this one go?
This one will probably go right around 45 or so.
All right.
Yep.
So now, do you have to change your driving style at all when it comes to driving this one versus like your Clodbusters?
There is. The hardest part is just kind of figure out the way the torque twist works, because this one does lift up a little bit when you go to drive. You know, like when you go to, for your elimination laps and stuff like that, you'll find one side of the track versus the other is a better way to go. Just depends on what turns you're making and whatnot, but yeah.
All right. Very cool. All right, so now for somebody wanting to build one of these and to get into this class of racing, what would you recommend for somebody just starting out?
For just starting out with something like this here, get the Axial SMT10. That's the best way to go starting out. The stock electronics will work for you, but you can always upgrade. You go with Hobbywing, like they have like a 10.5 motor, and you can get the 120 amp ESC for right around $100 for both. Getting a little bit nicer servo for right around 50. It's really a cheap way to get into it and race competitively.
All right. I think that's about all the questions I have for you today. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, no problem.
And yeah, hope to see you racing here soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Peace out, people.
Peace.